Welcome to Around the Kinky Campfire. Grab a seat, pour a drink, and let's turn up the heat. This is the podcast where we explore the wild, wonderful, and sometimes wicked world of kink, BDSM, and alternative lifestyles. Whether you're a seasoned player, a curious newbie, or just here for the stories, we've got something for you. Join us on Thursdays on your favorite podcast platform as we share experiences, dive into deep discussions, and may even spark a little fire of your own. No shame, no judgment, just real talk around the kinky campfire. Let's get lit. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Around the Kinky Campfire. This is your host, the exuberant one, Julius Marquise, H.H. Julius, or just Julius, if you're feeling less fancy. I'm here with another episode of Around the Kinky Campfire, the alternative relationship podcast, and I am back. Y'all had a recap episode last week, and this week I am back finally, hopefully, almost recovered from a very long, the country's world's largest, one of the two, swingers convention, Naughty Nollins, and I'm here to talk about it, how my trip went, and from my perspective, and give y'all a little recap if you've never heard of it, or you're interested in going, or you just want to go but haven't. Oh. Already hitting up the drink that's not sponsored a little bit early. Very thirsty because I'm very excited about this. So I had an amazing time, and I'm going to give you a recap. But yes, that was my quick little teaser of the episode. And now, as everybody's favorite time, it is the ASMR 5 seconds. Now you saw the drink. This is my little fancy cup, but it is not sponsored. Dr. Pepper, zero sugar, strawberries, and cream. If y'all did not know, Dr. Pepper, first of all, has zero sugar version. Not just a diet version. There is a difference. I can taste the difference now. So I've been a little new, no sugar little person for now. I was going to say boy, but you know, I'm just a little bitty fan of the no sugar version of Dr. Pepper. And they have different flavors, if y'all didn't know. And this one's in the can versus the bottle. There is a difference as well. If you want me to go into that, let me know in the descriptions and or the comments and the sections of the social medias. You heard it in the intro. And if you want to get into that debate, let me know. There's a very, very big debate, the can versus the bottle. Y'all can't taste the difference. I can, because I like the can. But anyways, not sponsored. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Ooh, it's cold, but it's good. Yeah. Also, it's a school night, so not an adult beverage. Like that really matters. Y'all know us. I switch back and forth. Beginning of the week, but we're going to keep it nice and fruity and non-alcoholic-y. YouTubes, thank you very much. Not an alcoholic drink. Okay. Back to it. Y'all know I got to go through this quick because I always run out of time. I want to talk about Naughty Nollins. Overall, I'll keep that for the end, actually. Teaser. Also, this is a little bit of teaser because I'm going to get with the group, the Smut Lovers group, that I said the vending group, the main group, the organizers, because it's like it's pretty much all the organizers that were there, and then also with like the vending group, pretty much the people that run Smut Lovers, the ones that go out and vend at the different conventions. We got invited to go to this almost half a year ago, at least, something. We all individually got invited. Let's just say that. All individually got invited. Pretty much. Most of us, anyway. How do I explain this? A couple of us got told about it, invited, and then, of course, the head person in charge got invited, and then we all were like, ooh, swingers convention, even though most of us don't know what the swingers community is. We are kinky and non-monogamous, possibly everybody, and not very experienced with the swinger lifestyle. I will say that your host right here, Julius, is a little bit more experienced than everybody. I'm just going to toot my own horn, stroke my own ego, like it really matters, because I still got surprised with a lot of stuff that was very interesting to me, and I will explain to you later. But that's basically what happened. So we were at a different convention, at Podfest being one of them, and we got introduced. We got told about Naughty Nollins. Apparently, a little backstory, just from what I know, not officially, that it had been going on for at least like 25, 26, 27 something years. Right smack dab in the downtown streets of New Orleans. We were right there downtown, literally right on Bourbon Street. For people that don't know anything about New Orleans, I hope you know at least what Bourbon Street is. Mardi Gras, yada, yada, all that stuff. Definitely a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be. That's what she said. And he said, and they said, that it was very interesting. So we were literally right there. So I was there day and night on Bourbon Street. And I got to explore a little bit with the energy that I had. But I definitely did not get to do all of it. So it was very interesting to see. And I'll talk about my notes for next year. The pros and cons. It's not really pros and cons. It's like do's and don'ts. Don't do what Julius did. And also do what Julius did, and then do what I suggest you to do. And we'll see how that goes. Okay, so yeah, that was pretty much it. There wasn't a whole lot of planning. It was pretty much like, ooh, that sounds fun, and then Lou will go, and then I was like voluntold, but not really, because I was like, I can't really say no to this, because my friends are going, newer friends in life, but still I consider them friends, good friends, and I was like, oh, this is going to be a group trip. I was like, I guess I gotta go. And then the way we went, we actually drove there straight here from Florida, 10 plus hours. That was a very long drive there and back. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I have to go. This is my preferred way to go on trips. That was another thing too, is I'm definitely got the work bug now. If I'm going to go somewhere, it's like I would hope to be like working. And then also this provides an opportunity for me to work or make opportunities to work in a way I would want to go on a work trip in an entertaining way, because y'all listening to this, and I've been doing this by myself for a couple of years now, and y'all still here downloading. I see the numbers. So obviously I'm very entertaining. At some point, some people agree. I only need like one person to agree with me. So I'm like, ooh, this is great. Because then I went in and like got some volunteer shifts too. So I wasn't just helping vending, I was helping with the volunteering as well. So getting to know a lot of people. And I still have not contacted all the people I need to contact again, because there's so many people, and there's just so many different things going on. Okay, so that's really it. I'm not even like trying to fluff y'all or anything. It's like that is exactly what happened. We got invited and we went. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna go into the notes. Like I said, we went in and I'm remembering now, I took some pictures, but I didn't upload the pictures where they needed to be. So I'm like, oops, I got to do that too. Took a little bit of pictures. Maybe I'll put them on the Instagrams and stuff like that, so y'all can take a look, because there was definitely more pictures at the beginning. And as my energy went down, my con energy went down, I took less pictures. So that's definitely one note for next time. Leave a little energy for pictures, because I need to do that. Okay, yeah, like I said, 10 plus hours in the thing, and I definitely went back, and it was like riding a bike, because we were pulling a trailer full of all the vending stuff, and it had been a while. I would say, goodness, man, long time. So I actually learned to drive before I learned to drive. And little known fact, if anybody knows what an Astro van is, it is a luxury touring van. Basically, it's just a 3-seater van, like back in the day with the little TVs that pop down, and it was 3 rows. And our family had a pull behind camper, the Jayco, the little pop-up campers. If anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, just Google Jayco pop-up campers. I've actually seen those recently. They're still around, the company. So we had that. And my dad at the time, when he was still alive, had me going down literally a sheer cliff, driving this Astrovan with a camper behind it. And no, he made me just drive the van. But there were times where I pulled the camper. Mountain without the camper and the Astrovan, this big fucking van, if y'all don't know what this is. And literally, let's just say I was not, you know what, fuck it. We were up in the mountains of Montana in the Northwest, and you know what? There's no real rules about that. So, kids would drive before they were legally able to drive. Driving down the mountain, literally sheer cliff, no guardrail, driving this big ass camper van down the mountains, and then I would drive it sometimes with the trailer with the trailer, the RV, pop-up RV behind it. So This was before I was legally able to drive. So that tells you how long ago it was. I've driven like pallet trucks since then, every now and then for work, grown-up people work, literally maybe like 10 years ago. But it's been a long time since I drove a big-ass, it was an SUV and a trailer, full-size trailer. So it was like riding a bike. So I helped part of that driving just because it had been so long since I've done it. And, yeah, it's been a while. So, yeah, 10-plus hours driving there. And it was hot as shit because it is the summertime. This literally was a couple weeks ago from the time that this drops. And I'm recording this same week. And yeah, this is a week ago. I got this episode fresh to y'all. Took a little break, but then fresh to y'all. So that was like riding a bike. Not a great, amazing story, but I will say for me it is because I jumped right in there and started driving that thing like it was nothing. Yeah, there's that whole entire thing. Okay, and then also first time in New Orleans. I said that it was in downtown New Orleans. First time in New Orleans as well. So first time in Swingers Convention. Yeah, first time Swingers Convention at all. Even not mentioning the fact that this is the largest Swingers Convention in the country. And then also first time in New Orleans. So all those nerves. And then we were right down to downtown New Orleans. Now, being a Central Florida person, I am used to the unhoused walking around, but New Orleans got a different type of people. I'll tell you that right now. And then also, all right, Capsters, before we get back to tonight's stories that probably shouldn't be played out loud at work, let's take a second to talk about today's sponsor, which could be you. Look, if you're listening to Around the Kinky Campfire, you're clearly not here for vanilla. You're here for the weird conversations, the spicy confessions, and the kind of stories that make you double check who's sitting next to you. And that's exactly why today's sponsor fits right in. Whether you're setting the mood, exploring something new, or just trying to turn an ordinary night into something a little more memorable, today's sponsor, which could be you, is here to help make it happen. No judgment, no awkward vibes, just good times and maybe a few decisions you'll be laughing about later. Ha ha! Because let's be honest, sometimes you don't want predictable. Sometimes you want a little tension, a little excitement, maybe even something that makes you say, well, that escalated quickly. And hey, we're not here to judge. No, no, no. Around this campfire, we support curiosity, good stories, and anything that makes life a little more interesting. So go check out today's sponsor, WCBY. Show them some love and help this campfire keep burning. Because the more support we get, the more spicy conversations we can bring to you. All right, now where were we? Oh yeah, things were just heating up. Oh man, tastes so good. Unsponsored. We were right smack dab in the middle of downtown. Our Airbnb was a 30-minute walk away, 5-minute drive. Still in the middle, smack downtown. In this very beautiful, old school Louisiana house in the middle of downtown. That joker was hot. I will tell you what, even at night, I was still sweating with the air conditioner on and an in-home unit. Still sweating my ass off in that house. That was just an old school house. It was beautiful, but it was old school. The central air, was definitely put in after the fact, and it was putting in work, but it wasn't enough. And those high ceilings in those old school houses, if y'all know about these southern houses and the way they were built, high ceilings in there, it was tough. But it was beautiful, and the room was beautiful. It was pretty amazing being there. That part was great, but whew, it was hot once you're out of the hotel. Hotel was freezing, of course, just like here in Florida. Any hotel is going to be freezing inside. You're going to freeze your ass off inside, and you're going to sweat your balls off outside. So you sweat your balls off, or your cooch, whichever one you have, and then you're going to go in, and that sweat's going to freeze. So it's going to be amazing on the genitals, whatever you have. So that part was pretty interesting. And nostalgic, because, yeah, we had the same thing in Florida, so I'm like, good. Happens in Louisiana, too. It was so great. But yeah, the nerves were on high because 1, I had to volunteer, 2, I had to vend, and 3, had to be around swingers, which I have no problem with swingers and nudity. It's the attention I get that I have a problem with, and I have a problem with attention in general. And I will say there was a lot of the stereotype of look at my skin, okay? Look at my skin. And there was a lot of that going on that weekend because it's swingers and hot wifing is a thing. I'll just say that right there. without calling too much attention to it. It's not that I don't want to talk about it, because I talk about everything on there. I talk about my own private stuff on this podcast. I have no problem with that. It's just, I'm not going to yuck anybody's yum. I just don't fit in with a stereotype, and I don't fit in with a specific popular fetish that the mainstream world does. And it's kind of like, in my opinion, dumb to fit in with that stereotype in that fetish. But if people do it and they're consensual, you're consenting adults. I can't really say anything bad. It's not. I can have an opinion, of course. This whole thing is my opinion, but I'm not going to yuck anybody's yum. Your kink is not my kink, and that's okay too. That type of deal. So people are consenting to it. But husbands are consenting to it. So more power to you, especially if you're making money off that shit. Good Lord. But yeah, I had my extrovert button had to be switched. Not natural. There was a couple of us in the group having to do that too. We were just on that extrovert switch and introvert energy. We were just pumping up the whole weekend. Just keep on going. We're just going to flip the switch and then keep on riding. Yeah. You know who I'm talking about. Right there with me. We were consoling each other the whole entire time. Dysregulation was real, and they had to re-regulate. That was the whole entire theme of this whole entire thing. Not just for me, but for other people in the group. And it was interesting to see people. We all, friends, but it's still newer. It's like one of the times where we could actually sit and talk to each other, that kind of thing. And it was like cool to see, and then like be able to console each other during this time. It was like, oh, okay, cool. We get each other in a different way that I had not realized before. And then I very much invite you to go ahead and listen to another podcast that I'm a part of a hosting team. So Smut Lovers, the podcast. Go and check that out on the Spotify's as well. Hopefully you're listening to both on here. I am on there as well. Julius Marquise, your exuberant host. And we'll do a whole team recap as well, coming out at some point soon. But anyways, my own personal recap. These are my personal struggles. I was just glad that there were other people with me in the group that had the same thing, and we could console each other. I will say, one con that we definitely have to put on the list for next time is that we got there, I would say a couple days too late, because there was pre-convention days that started on a Monday. The official start of the convention was on Wednesday, which we got there on like Tuesday night. So tired. And got into the house, got the vending stuff out of the trailer at the hotel, and then also we got our stuff into the Airbnb very late, and we had to get up early in the morning and get everything set up. Okay, so oh goodness, yeah. So we missed a couple of the pre-convention stuff, and it was like, oh man, because we would have got to meet some of the different groups that we're in. There was a bunch of different groups. There was like Discord groups and like Telegram groups and everything, and people were having like dinners beforehand, and then like the volunteers were helping set up the stuff beforehand, and then like meeting for food and drink during break times and stuff like that. And I was like, I wish we would have got there a little early. So I'm voting for definitely getting there on Sunday next time. That way I can do some pre-convention photos as well, which is something we need to do. I will say that obviously pretty much every convention where the week flew by, and we didn't get to do as much New Orleans stuff as we wanted to. So we pretty much, I'll just go through the stuff we did get to do. I had my chicory coffee with a baguette, even though they call it an omelette there. I asked for chicory and they gave me an omelette. So if anybody knows about New Orleans food, like apparently if you have a beignet, why I say baguette, beignet, you have to have it with the chicory coffee. You're supposed to do that. When people say that chicory coffee is very bitter, and I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? It was totally fine with me. The one I had, this is what I asked for. They gave me it said on the thing omelette, even though I asked for chicory. I don't understand. Either way, it was good. The beignet was good. I had a regular one, I had a chocolate one, and then there was the salted caramel one. So I had a 3-pack, which was pretty doggone amazing at Cafe Beignet. It was a very pretty cafe, like a block away from Bourbon Street. That was pretty good. Did not get to go to Cafe Du Monde, which is what I wanted to do, and for unreal reasons, I could not go. I was very sad. This is my French. Cafe Du Monde. Bourbon. Canal. All the French words right there in downtown New Orleans. Yeah, very sad didn't get to go. I had crawfish, fried rice. That was another thing. And I will say the volunteers got fed very well, so the stuff we got catered was very delicious, but I don't think any of it was like, quote unquote, Nawlins food, even though it was made from a place there in New Orleans. I don't know how that works out. So that stuff was delicious, but it wasn't actually New Orleans food. And also, we had the crawfish fried rice, and I had a hot sausage po' boy with some fries. I don't know if it was New Orleans fries. And I had a crawfish rangoon, which I'd never heard of, but it was fucking delicious. Ate all that stuff with some kind of sauce. I have no idea what it was, but that was delicious too. And something else. I can't remember. But anyways, I missed out on the gumbo. Some people had the gumbo from Cafe Beignet and then other places. And I missed out the jambalaya and the etouffee. Very sad about all that. Yeah, so another trip to New Orleans underway. So yeah, that's another thing we got to do. It would have helped if we got there early. So get there early next time or stay later. One of the two. There was other vendors we made friends with there, and they were like, oh yeah, we stay a couple days later after the convention just to recoup and everything. I was like, that's a good idea. They had been there before. We made new friends. We talked to them beforehand. That would have been great. But anyways, new friends now. Okay. Boy. Okay. Yeah. I'm reminiscing because I missed out on the food. I'm very sad about it. Just being in New Orleans. Okay. So, if y'all don't know about swingers, they dress a certain way. And it's very funny because the juxtaposition of the swingers versus the downtown Bourbon Streetites of New Orleans people and out of town people, I will say on the street didn't look much different, which is pretty funny. Hilarious because the way they dress wasn't much different. I would argue maybe because it was summertime and hot as shit, but everybody's cheeks and side boobs and man meat was all hanging out. I will say that right now. And you couldn't really tell, which is pretty funny because I will just say the hotel was on lockdown. I can't even say that joke anymore because people will be like, what do you mean lockdown? No. You basically what it was is you couldn't get in a hotel unless you had a convention badge, and just imagine when people that are comfortable being naked and fucking in front of each other, how they dress. But like you went out in the street and it wasn't much different. I couldn't tell who was who. That was the funny part. It's like, oh, okay, this is how we do things, huh? Pretty funny. Okay, that was great. Down to New Orleans. Oh man, the people watching. Not much different in Florida, but it's pretty funny because there is a little slight difference. Okay, and of course I'm already running out of time. This is me by myself talking about this. I could just imagine when the group gets together how much time we're going to run out of. All right, I will say got there late, but on Wednesday got the stuff set up, and first day of volunteering, get to know people. I made a note to try to talk to people, both old and new. You can kind of tell when somebody's new to a convention versus somebody that's been to a convention for a while. Obviously, the supervisors have been doing it for a couple of years. Volunteering, I mean, at this particular convention. As a convention pro now, because I've done so many, I feel like if I've volunteered at least 3 different conventions, then I'm a pro. I'm just who I am. Julius, the host, a man of the streets, the convention streets, here for you. Okay? All right. So, volunteering. In general, not much different than what I've experienced before. Specifically, volunteering, the events are freaking hilarious because there was like vanilla speed dating, and that was couples speed dating other couples, which was interesting. And then there was the naked version of couples and couples speed dating. I volunteered for both shifts. Of course. Only difference is they had their clothes on for a little bit longer because, of course, naked speed dating, you have to take your clothes off right away versus the vanilla, quote-unquote, version is in a hotel where there's a swingers convention and you have to be you don't have to keep your clothes on. I'll just spoil that. So there was just random junk hanging out all over the place and people were groping it in the middle of speed dating. I'm like, hi, what's your name? I'm gonna grope your chest. That's how it is. Okay, necklace making was an interesting thing because the group that was there, the couple that was running the necklace making was like you make a necklace and it says your name and then what you're into basically, and they were doing that every day of the convention. But it was cool because like later on, I'm just gonna say this now because I'm running out of time. Like the orgies at night, people would have their necklace on, and that would be the only thing they have on. So like, you couldn't remember somebody's name, just look at their neck while you're in the middle of fucking them. Once again, it's like, I'm not gonna have an opinion, because as an ace person, I have like definitely have an opinion on that, but I'm not gonna yuck anybody's job. If you want to go in the orgy, you just want to swap partners every couple of minutes, you have that priority. And it was interesting too, because in the naked speed dating, people were like introducing each other, and you only had a minute and 30 seconds. Like, that was the typical round in speed dating. But then they would just kind of start fucking, and then just like move on to the next couple, introduce, and then start fucking again. And you had like less than a minute. Like, I was like, wow, this is the thing. I will say I did naked speed dating on the last day of the convention. That didn't happen. People kept their junk to themselves. They were just like chatting, which is just very interesting. Very funny. All right, so I mentioned the orgies. I will say that they took over a whole floor of a convention, and they were just all a bunch of different themed rooms in each room in the hotel. But the main orgy room, there was like 27 beds, and I'll tell you, for hours, every one of them beds was filled. I had to clean the sheets and the condoms and everything from that room in between the sessions. So I was literally just like swapping sheets and wiping the bed down. And then a couple groups we just surrounding. And then as soon as I put them sheet down, another one or two couples would take over that bed. So it was pretty interesting in there. Had to keep the air conditioning very high, because as soon as all the people got in there, it got hot shit in there. People did not care. They was still just fucking away. So yeah. And then also there was 3 hotels, I will say. There was the main hotel, which was most of the stuff went down. Then there's the second hotel, which is more like the kink hotel, because that's where the dungeon was. And then, you can do stuff in there. But there was a playroom in there, a smaller playroom compared to the whole floor playroom in the main hotel. And then there was just a third hotel where they were just putting extra people in there. And like every hotel was sold out. So that was kind of nuts. That's how big it is. So people would just rotate, and they had a shuttle in between all the hotels too. That's because they weren't close to each other. So you had to switch your balls off in between fucking sessions between the hotels. So that was the first day. Second day, I had to be a teacher's assistant, so I was doing classes. This is one thing I really like to do at conventions, is be the guide for the class sessions. So I will say it was a swingers convention, but there were classes just like any other convention. During the day, there's usually class sessions, and at night is more social stuff. And then they'll sprinkle in like meetups and stuff in between. So that part was not much any different than any other convention. Just a bunch of naked people fucking. That was the only other thing. Versus an anime convention, which they do that too at night. There's still orgies at anime conventions. You just got to get the special invite to it. Anyways, it was pretty cool. There was like legit classes. I need to step my classes game up, because some of those people were charging like $100, $200, $300 for some of their classes. I was like, damn, that's a whole nother business stream, and I need to get on that. Yeah, we need to get on that. So yeah, I got to step my class game up. Yep, got to do that. Note for self. That's another note for next year. Well, pretty much every year. Okay, so there is, let me think here. The classes were interesting, directing people. So I will say that was still on point for just a general convention thing. I enjoy doing that, because then you get the lay of the land, and you get to tell people where to go for all the different things. I did mention the mix and mingles. They continued on the second day as well. Those are great. Even not even just the naked kind. It was just interesting because it was mostly couples. There weren't a whole lot of single people, and they all, they being the mix and mingles, were all like couples focused. So it would be like different themes. Like there was a bi-male one. There was like all the different races, the minority ones, and then also like the different locations. So I had like Southern people, East Coast people, Midwest people, that type of thing. And then there was actually a poly one that I got to go to. Being a poly person in the swinger role was very interesting. And then meeting other couples or polycules that were part of this as well. I was like, oh, all the different lifestyles are mixing together. Need a kinky one. And there wasn't just like a straight queer one. So need to start that for next year. Hopefully. Get that together. There's like specific kinks. Like there was an electro meetup. So we can probably get just a blanket kinky one. That'd be kind of cool too. Because there, we had the whole dungeon. It was a big freaking dungeon. Big fucking dungeon. It was literally fucking dungeon. There was fucking in there. Interesting. Oh, I would say also one thing that was specific. because I worked on Friday at one of the bar takeover shifts, and they literally took over bars in up and down Bourbon Street during the day, which was interesting. And they also had like a phone party, and they took over a strip club. If you did not know about Bourbon Street, as a New Orleans newbie myself, there are strip clubs on Bourbon Street as well, just right down the middle of Bourbon Street. And they took one of those over. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why would a swinger person, where naked in the hotel, go to a strip club, which is just like a tease or whatever? But I did hear say that some of them were jumping on, some of the swinger people, convention people were jumping on stage and showing off their stuff too with the strippers. So it was more like a party vibe as far as I'm concerned. And also it was male and female strippers, which I would have liked. So I should have went back and hung out over there if I had the energy. It was just so hot, people. I will say that bar shift was also 4 hours. So 4 hours in the heat and then trying to hang out. Lessons for next year. Make a note of that. 4 hours in the heat versus 4 hours inside the hotel is a big doggone difference. Okay. Saturday, Naked Speed Dating number 2. As I said, they kept their business to themselves pretty much. And then also Saturday is by the time I got to walk around the dungeon and actually see it in action. So it was cool seeing a little bit of kink at the swingers thing. I've talked about it before, but here in Central Florida, there's not a whole lot of intermixing of the two lifestyles as much. There are like dungeons at swingers places, establishments, but there's not a whole lot of like, full-on kink happening, which is interesting. And having seen it at the country's largest swingers convention was like, ooh, this is cool. Because apparently that is a newer part of it. As being a newbie to the swingers to naughty, it's interesting to see after all the 26 years that the kink part is like within the last few years, especially after like quarantine and stuff. And it's like, oh, that was very interesting to see. But I'm glad that the lifestyles are mixing together, especially as somebody that is part of a fetish kinky smut butt convention. To see that is interesting to see. Okay. I've went over time, but I will go over my recap once again. Okay, let's see. Lessons for next year. We'll pick right back up there. Number 1, get there early. Get there Sunday, Monday at the latest. I'll tell you that now because there's pre-convention stuff. People get there like on Saturday before and stay a weekend something in order to take in everything, especially if you're first time in New Orleans. Because I didn't know that right down the street, 7 blocks away is right down the street, there's a whole entire river down there. I didn't even know that. So, yeah, there was like a whole paddle boat dinner that missed out. Definitely should have checked that. Get there a little bit earlier. Also, helping with setup, if you are a volunteer, because as y'all know, I am a volunteer professional, expert at this point. If you do pre-convention setup, that's a good like 10 hours knocked off your shift. And I will say there was a minimum time, I guess, to get a free ticket. I was like also vending, so I already had a free ticket. I was just volunteering to just try to meet and network with more people because the volunteers know where it's at and they're not necessarily part of the lifestyle pretty much in any convention. So they're like curious people, and also like the fact that you're motivated so much enough to volunteer your time at a convention, and then also you're like going to the convention. That's a good motivation. I enjoy that kind of personality type thing. So yeah, help with setup, that knocks out a lot of hours, and you can just have more free time to actually do convention stuff. I would just like to manage my time better as somebody that works from home for his regular job. Literally getting up at like 10 p.m. and putting pants on and socks on it was a struggle for me. So that whole entire thing was pretty interesting. Just being up out of the house the whole day, I was definitely feeling it, and everybody noticed it. Let's just say that. So I got to get better with that. Oh, I need to figure out what I'm going to be doing as a vendor type person, as the personality and the gorgeous face of the team. Sounds so conceited. But I'm the one, I will whore myself out. I have no problem. I'll put my ass on the line, literally in front of a crowd of people to get us some vending, get us customers. I guess it is customers because they are buying stuff. I will be a sign flipper out in the front. I have no problem with that. So, yeah, I will 100% do that. Definitely want to do that next time. I will say I actually made custom shirts for Smut Lovers being at Naughty Nollins. They didn't come in until the day after we left. I'm so fucking mad about that. I took pictures with the shirts on those, so I'm going to keep those and keep wearing them. I'm so fucking mad about that. But anyways, I got to figure out what I'm doing as a vendor, because I'm not the person to just be sitting behind the thing and just like, because my resting bitch face is not is not helpful for making sales. Yeah, so I'm not going to be the salesperson type deal. I'll be something else. I'll be something else. Sign flipper. I have no problem with that if it's not fucking 100 degrees outside. I mean, a sign flipper at the front of the hotel. How about that? Because, yeah, there was a little thing. I'll just say, as a personal note, as a convention expert as I am, their map sucked balls. Just saying that. That's really a nitpick there, too, because they had a map, but it was just not great. And so, yeah, in the app, you could not tell where everything was, and it definitely was not a vendor map. So it was like, we need to let people know where we're at. So a little tip as a convention expert, if you don't ask, then you can't be told no. So if we had just put a sign for ourselves, like, hey, we got Smut Book stuff up there around the corner, all the way in the back, not in the butthole, and we are here, I'm pretty sure nobody would stop us. So it's like the Wild Wild West. That's the interesting part, I will say. The most interesting thing about a convention that's been around for 26 years, it's still the Wild West. There's no hard set rules on stuff like that. So I found that very interesting as an expert. I'm just going to ride that right into the ground. Okay, I went super over. The camera even cut off on me, and my recording time was up, which is weird. All right. That's all for now. This is your exuberant host, H.H. Julius Marquise. This is Around the Kinky Campfire. New audio episodes on Thursdays, video episodes on Fridays most of the time, unless I do like a recap episode. And it's like, why even do video for that one? Let's just put the audio up. But if that doesn't happen regularly, there are new episodes Thursday and Friday. I will catch you next time. This has been all Naughty Nollins 2026. Was amazing. Looking forward to 2027. Fingers crossed everything works out. There's no other global pandemics that take over and all that bull crap. But I'll see y'all, hear y'all next time. Hello. That's a wrap for this episode of the Around the Kinky Campfire podcast. We love having you by the fire, and we'd love to hear from you. Got a kinky question, a steamy story, or a topic you want us to cover? Slide into our DMs and send us a message at Around the Kinky Campfire, campfire with a K, at yahoo.com. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you're listening. Your support helps keep the flames burning and the conversations flowing. Follow us on Twitter, Kinky Campfire, Campfire with a K, YouTube, Around the Kinky Campfire, Campfire with a K, or Instagram, Campfire Kinksters, Campfire with a K. To stay in the loop, join the community and keep the kink alive between episodes on Thursdays. Until next time, stay safe, stay sexy, and keep that fire burning.